I, 19 male, am in a nursing program. We do a lot of physical exams on each other to practice, which involves wearing shorts and tanks. It's important to mention I am permanently blind in one eye, am constantly running into walls, doors, railings, plants, people, animals, everything. As you can guess, I'm covered in bruise 90% of the time, on my blind side. In the course one day we were talking about signs of abuse and the teacher said constant bruising. I raised my hand and added that it's important to talk to the patient if they're an adult, before calling the police, as it could be something else. She asked for an example, so I rolled up my sleeve and explained that the bruises were from door handles of the school, which were varying colors and heights. She nodded and agreed. She said, with children we call the second we suspect abuse. With adults we attempt to talk to them first, and if their reason seems veiled, we don't call. The lessons continued, and a weekish later the cops showed up to my door. They told me they got a report that I was being physically abused and I was always covered in bruises. I told them about my disability. They checked my home, talked to my family, saw no further signs, and I asked questions next. They got my address from the university because they take abuse seriously here, and when they talked to the university about me, the university was very concerned and just wanted to help me. After the police left, I talked to some people at the university, including a psychologist, just so they could be sure I had no mental signs of abuse. Then life went on. Well, I was still coming in the bruises every day, and one of my classmates came up to me. She told me our classmate Kay was telling people she was thinking about calling the police again because I'm still covered in bruises. I got my classmate's report written down, alongside a few others, and waited. Sure enough, police showed up again. Same song and dance, but this time I told the university that Kay was using the police to harass me and I wanted something done about it. The university decided the best course of action was to move her from my labs to the other one so she couldn't see whether I was bruised or not. She's now told me I'm an asshole and that she was just trying to help me, and I didn't need to mess up her whole university schedule. Update 1. I'm blind in one eye. I run into random stuff if I'm not paying enough attention. I'm covered in various bruises. Showed this during class while talking about abuse and how we have to talk to adults before calling. Girl decided to call the cops on me twice, claiming I'm abused, resulting in me forced to go to counseling, talk to therapists, police, act until everyone was assured I wasn't abused. So anyways, it's been a bit since that post and I have big updates on her. I called her Kay in the other story, so let's stick with that. So anyways, I had previously gotten her removed from my labs. We still shared class, not lab. I figured everything was fine now and she'd leave me alone, but I was wrong. Not only was she spreading rumors that I was abused, but she called the cops again. Apparently more than once, as the other 2 times the cops said they had a report of abuse. This time they said reports. When I asked how many reports, they said that it was multiple people. So I don't know if others in class called or she had her family do so. I just don't know. They couldn't tell me who called due to privacy when it comes to reporting, to try and make sure abusers don't attack the reporters. Apparently my university had attempted to stop them when the cops spoke to them, but the cops had to check anyways, so they came after talking to the university anyways, and again we did the same song and dance. I told them I felt like someone was using the cops to harass me, and the cops took this. They said no one would show up and anyone that calls would now have their name taken down, and if they call after being told not to, they'd be charged with harassment. Well, that was about a week ago, and someone continued calling, tried to claim a different name, didn't realize they record phone numbers as well. So Therese, your update on Kay. She called again, and again, and again until it got her charged with harassment as well as misuse of police resources. Not certain what's gonna happen going forward or if he'll be called to testify. I'm not certain what's happening, but I haven't seen her since I was informed that she's still called, which I found out from another classmate. Update 2. So, I made my last post only 3 days ago and shit kinda went down. Now, I need to explain that quite a bit of this is secondhand, because I luckily avoided the crazies. So basically, Kay does not know where I live, knows the general town, but nothing else. I did invite one girl in our class to my house to work on a project. She was the only person other than the university that knows where I live. Kay knows this, because her and girl who I'ma call Lily, are kinda not related. Lily's cousin is married to Kay's cousin, so they knew each other prior to the program but not really well, and Lily is also the one that told me about Kay still calling even after the police promised me they would not show up again, which they haven't. They just started taking down the numbers and keeping track of who called, when, and did they call after being told not to. So basically, Kay knew me and Lily were paired up for the project, knew Lily came to my house, did not know where the house was, or what it looked like, just that it was in a town X kilometers away from where they were. They also knew the town name via Lily's mom, so I got warned by Lily that Kay's mom was going to try to find me to get me to drop Kay's charges. I'm not the one charging her, the police are. I have not pressed any charges despite some people saying I should get a restraining order. Lily warned me, and I hid in my house and did not leave until Lily told me that Kay's mom had returned home. Kay's mom then proceeded to harass Lily in an attempt to get Lily to give Kay's mom my address so she could knock on my door instead of driving around aimlessly hoping to spot me. Lily refused, and deleted all texts between me and her to ensure that even if Kay's mom stole her phone, and somehow got past the password, that she would never get my address. Lily then informed the university of the situation, and had proof via texts, that the university had her print off and give to them, and the police, the university security are now watching for Kay's mom's car, and Kay's mom, security is informed that if and when I'm at school they are to escort me to and from my car is also to be parked near cameras, by order of the university, until the situation dies down. Luckily I'm at clinicals and not anywhere near the university. Kay was kicked out before clinicals so has no idea which clinics the students are at, or which I'm at. Had she stayed in longer she'd have a literal list posted to the class page, about where I'm at, and where in the building I'm at. Kay's family apparently was informed by the police that any attempts to contact me would be harassment, so says Lily, can't guarantee, but yeah. I kinda don't know how to feel. The next time I have to go to the uni is for exams in like 3 weeks, so hopefully Kay's family doesn't hold on to this that long. Until then I'm safe in a building filled with security, locked doors, and places to run. The placement was also informed about this situation and with pictures from Lily, who's at a different placement, are watching for Kay's family, and has banned them from the premise in advance. So yeah, if this goes no further I won't update anymore, but if it gets worse I guess I'll update after my exams and the HESI. Wish me luck because I'm gonna try to not stress too much about the why situation and focus on my finals and HESI, instead of that, but don't know how that'll go. Hope y'all are enjoying my mild suffering and it entertains you if only a bit, so that some good can come from this situation I can't believe I'm in right now, so. Yeah, thanks again for the words of encouragement and kindness, you showed me during this insanity, and wish Lily some luck as she's being bombarded by her family to give Kay's mom my address, phone number, and doing her best to hold out on this, and making sure her phone is never out of her sight on the off chance she leaves it open. Update 3. Hey, so we'll start with the good before the bad. I passed all my exams and am continuing moving through the nursing program. On to the crazy. I finished the exams a few days ago, and was called into a meeting. I was not informed what the meeting was about. I got there, it was the dean, my professors, and the head of the nursing program. I was confused and a little scared because they all looked so serious. Instantly one of my professors told me not to worry, that they don't believe the accusations but need to talk to me about it. I asked her what accusation, and she informed me they had gotten a tip that I was cheating on all my exams. At that point I just wanted to curl into a ball and cry, because in my area that's something that can get you banned from every university. Cheating on exams is instant expulsion and it'll mean you have very little options or future as other universities won't accept you either. I told them it wasn't true, I'd never cheat on an exam. They said that they were having IT check my account that I used to sign into the computer for an suspicious activity, and that if they found any it'd be expelled instantly, but if they didn't, they'd take it as a false accusation, and would be contacting the police as they had an idea of who had given the tip. At that point I hadn't even considered that it might be a final attempt for Kay to ruin my life. He was the last thing on my mind because I luckily haven't had to be involved in her case. The cops have enough evidence from her repeated phone calls, and the recordings, and that she ignored the order to stop calling them about me. After less than a day I was informed by the professors they found no evidence of cheating, and they were forwarding the number of who called and the situation to the police. The police then contacted me and informed me that this was done by a relative of Kay's, not Kay herself, as apparently she's being held till trial because she's a flight risk and tried to leave the country when was out on bail waiting for her trial. The cop highly suggested, like many of you, that I get a restraining order against her family, and anyone she's friends with, and make it a crime for people to contact me on her behalf, as they can't arrest the person who called the tip on me, due to the fact that they have no evidence the person truly didn't think I cheated or something like that. They said it wasn't worth pursuing the person for harassment as it'd most likely get nowhere and make my situation worse not better. I will now be going through with getting one hopefully. The university is actually helping with this process as they feel responsible for me getting put in this position, and they don't lie how powerless they were to really stop any of what was happening to me, other than banning them from the property. I was told I'd never see Kay on the property again, which tells me she has been officially expelled. So yeah, this is hopefully the last update. I really don't want to update again. I didn't want to update this time because I just feel like I'm living a nightmare at this point, but people kept commenting update him, so here it is I guess, the hopefully conclusion to my story. I'm in the process of getting a restraining order, and I've passed my courses, avoided Kay for a while, and am slowly losing my sanity. Update 4. I'm doing well in my course, passing my midterms and I'm getting 70s and 80s in everything. The construction in the nursing wing of my uni is done so I'm not running into as much stuff. The occasional time my cat decides to jump in front of me and trip me into a wall, sure, but other than that I'm doing well. I have a restraining order against Kay, and I was assigned an officer who if I receive any texts or calls from her or her family I forward them to him and he handles it. Kay's family has backed off and gave up on trying to talk to me, as they were informed they'd just make things worse for Kay. She's not getting jail time, but a lot of community service and parole I believe, unless she contacts me again. I haven't paid a lot of attention to it though because when I first uploaded this I had finals coming up and now I'm halfway through the next semester, and she was expelled from the course due to the criminal charge. She does now have a criminal record and so it's unlikely she'll be allowed to take the nursing program anywhere, so she's now stuck with an at least $20,000 student loan that got her nothing and nowhere, going off how high my loan was by time we were in classes together. I'm just trying to move on with my life, and get things moving. I'm done trying to defend myself from those questioning if I can be a nurse or not. I'm done arguing with people about my medical history. I just wanted to give this final update to those who stuck with this insanity this long. But yeah, here's hoping that's the end of the problems they'll have in university. So thanks again to everyone who helped me realize I wasn't crazy or the asshole, because I was actually a victim of abuse in the past. Haven't been for a long time, but I still question my choices and decisions a lot more than I think I should be. And I have gotten back in therapy a bit heavier because this situation made me realize I haven't finished working through my problems as much as I thought I did. Now on to second story. Best friend kissed me during a drunken sleepover, after I had moved on, and now our friendship is falling apart. My friends have known this about me for years, and it just feels like they want me to break my principles for the sake of doing it, which feels toxic to me. I am pretty sure I am in the right, but my friends heavily disagree, so I wanted to ask for outside opinions. I've always been prideful, to what some would call a fault, but I would call the lack of pride I witnessed the same if I was being brutally honest, an asshole, so maybe we're just different people. I've had the same friend group for most of my life, we're all mid-20s. I do not believe in the whole break up / get back together, or the yes, no, yes, no thing. If you say you don't want me, you don't want me, end of story, we can close that book and get back to where we were, no problem, and I won't bring it up again. 6-ish weeks ago, I finally got up the courage to ask out my best friend, someone I had feelings for a long time before this. She wasn't interested, and I accepted that right away, because why would I not? We've been friends for a long time, and I didn't expect anything from her. I did distance myself for just a little bit, to get over the awkwardness, but within a little over a week, it was like nothing happened, and I was glad. At least, until this last weekend, where during a sleepover with all of our friends at my place, she kissed me. No one else was paying attention, and I was kind of in shock, so I just pulled away, and shook my head. I honestly figured she was plastered and that would be the end of it. We all had been drinking a lot, and I wasn't even going to bring it up. Next morning, I wake up, and she, as well as a couple of our friends are gone. The ones that were still there were really angry. No matter how I try to explain where I'm coming from, I'm apparently not understanding how hard it was for her to confess, and that she felt humiliated by my reaction. I told them that they all knew how I felt about this kind of thing, and they started talking about how it was a different situation, and that my response was heartless. Update 1. Though at the same time, I'm mostly posting this for me, shouting into a void, because I feel slightly rock bottom right now, and my gut is telling me to quit my job, pack my shit and leave the state, leave this half of the country, TBH, because life here is unsalvageable for me. I got family out west who'd let me stay for a while, and every second I consider it, it seems like a better idea. I also wanted to start by saying I would like to explain my position a little bit better, so just skip the next 2 paragraphs if you don't want to hear it. Tried to make your starting point easy to find, sorry if it didn't work, but I do want the chance to explain myself a little better. I was a wreck writing the first one, and looking back over it, I didn't give many details regarding my reasons, or how I feel about it, outside of avoiding the situations. I do not view myself as an epic badass or whatever else everyone was commenting on the last post. In fact, I do understand that to many, this is a pretty fatal flaw in my personality. I have accepted that for a lot of people, that opinion is one that cuts off the possibility of friendship. It sucks, but I also don't want to change myself or force myself into uncomfortable situations, just because people don't like a part of me. I am very accepting of others' views on the situation, and completely agree that my own can seem rigid. I don't blame people for disagreeing. I think that plenty of people could have a wonderful relationship in that situation. I only even brought this up because it matters to the story. However, I also know that when it comes to relationships, it would not be fair to either party, in a case like this. I know for a fact I would never fully know that I wasn't a backup option, or that they aren't just saying yes because it's convenient now. I don't want those kinds of thoughts in my head, and I don't want to constantly feel like I have to prove I am worth it in a relationship. I have more pride, or maybe as others have said, self-respect is better wording. It isn't meant as a gotcha, or to punish the other person in any way. It's because even if I still have romantic feelings, I genuinely don't think the relationship is a good idea anymore. Anyway, for the actual update. After almost a full week of radio silence, she replied to my texts and asked if we could meet and talk. I asked where she wanted to meet, and she said my place, I assume for privacy, which is cool. I know a lot of people were talking about her trying to set me up for crimes and stuff, but I'm not really worried about that, from her. I just don't think she would. She isn't vindictive. So when she got here, and we sat down, I pretty much just told her that I was so confused about everything that I didn't even know what to make of all that happened, and I asked her to tell me what happened from her point of view. There were 2 differences between her version, and my version that I picked up on, which may well have been accurate. I was plastered and they aren't huge differences, but at the same time, I can see how it would be embarrassing. She claims that after I pulled away I made a face like I was grossed out. Afterward she said I shifted to be leaning away from her, for the rest of the movie, and it just made it worse. I don't remember either of them, but again drunk. Not gonna deny it, I have little control over my face when I smoke or drink, and I absolutely could have made a face without realizing it, just out of shock. I apologized for that and assured her I wasn't disgusted, just shocked as hell, and also assuming it was a drunk mistake kind of thing. Hell, we've all done stupid shit drunk, no big deal. It was only the next morning when I was bum-rushed with accusations before I even got a morning piss that I was told it was meant to be any kind of hint or whatever. She did look really embarrassed at that point and told me she hadn't thought about it that way, and just thought it would be more simple than everything else. I decided, against my better judgment, to ask the question everyone here told me I needed to ask. Why did she actually reject me at first, and what caused her to change her mind? That's when things got really uncomfortable, and I could tell she didn't want to tell me, but eventually, she did. Apparently, her parents are more bigoted than she or anyone else led me to believe, so in her own words, telling them we were in a relationship wouldn't be worth it, since I came out. I am NB, and she said they haven't liked me since then but stay civil for her sake. Meaning that they would just trash talk me whenever I left. Which is really frustrating and embarrassing, considering all I've done for that fucking family over the years. She was scared that dating would push them too far, and they'd cut her off from their lives. She said that she'd hoped maybe we could try dating on DL, and if things got serious enough then she could. I pretty much just told her I had a lot to think about and asked her if I could have some time. She agreed and left, and I don't know if I'm more furious, or embarrassed, or hurt. Why didn't she tell me before now they were saying that kind of shit about me? What kind of friend does that? I'm not saying she had to cut them off or stop seeing them. I totally understand weird dynamics with parents, believe me, but maybe tell me that they have an open disgust and hatred for my existence before I decide to help them with household chores and treat them like I would family. I mean, I grew up with these people. For God's sake, I thought of her mother as a better one to me than my own, not a high bar, but she was doing cartwheels 50 feet over it in my eyes. I am so sick to my stomach with grief. I'm pretty sure we aren't gonna be able to be friends anymore, and it just hurts. I grew up with her, she is the first person other than my dad I came out to, and I never ever thought there would be anything she would do that I couldn't forgive her for, but making a fool out of me for years, then suggesting we date quietly so her family doesn't have to know she's with the local freak show just feels way too far. I want to forgive her, but she's not even sorry, she didn't even apologize for anything. I want to see her reasons, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, but it just hurts. I'm not sure if I wish I hadn't followed the advice or not, right now, even though I know it's better to know. I am glad, at least that I will know to stop wasting time, labor, and money on people who hate me. But to know that they hate me is so painful.